Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining yet another day of Bhagavad Gita reading session. So today we'll be discussing on a very important verse which emphasizes the importance of scripture and emphasizes the importance of following scripture. We'll just start with the prayers to invoke the blessings of acharyas and lordships. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जलशलाकय चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि और भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. I'll just share the screen. Yeah. यः शास्त्रविधिम् उत्सृज्य वर्तते कामकारतः न स सिद्धिम् अवाप्नोति न सुखं न परां गतिम्. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. Okay, so today let's start with one story actually. So in one jungle there was a lot of animals and all that, deer, uh, mongoose, tiger, and all that kind of animals, birds, peacocks, and all. So one panda also was there. So everyone were kind of teasing that panda, that hey panda, why are you like this? Always lazy, sleeping. Look at us, we are all slim and trim. We run hither and thither, and you always are just engaged in eating, or you just sleep for very long hours. So listening to all this, the panda thought to go to a gym. Uh, Now once panda went to a gym. Now this gym was very sophisticated, and these machines and all, they were very like lot of buttons here and there, lot of functionalities. So panda, he was just pressing one button after the other, and it was trying to do things. Now like this panda, what happened, it was some suddenly one, it pressed one button and the bell started going fast. It went and just slammed onto the surface in the front. Then once it pressed some other button, then it just fell off to another machine. It hurt its head. So like this, it was just trying different machines, and it just couldn't figure out what to do. So then the panda ultimately gave up, and he just went back. Uh, Now I just want to ask one simple question to all of you. What was this panda trying to do all this while? Can you tell me? Like by pressing the different buttons, different functionalities. What was it trying to do? I think you can unmute also. Trying to do exercise. Wonderful. So what it was trying to do is like it was trying to figure out, okay, now I've come to this place, all these different uh, buttons are there. So what exactly will it happen? So it tried to do that, and in doing that it started hurting itself, right? Now what do you think uh, the panda should have done? What is the correct way to go about it? What if it would have done would have led to a good outcome? Can you tell me? Can anyone of you tell me? take help of a coach. Wonderful. So now, it either take help of a coach, or it could have as well read the manual, right? So in the manual would have said that this machine runs in a so and so way, like you have to press this, then it will lead to this. You have to ensure that the speed is at appropriate level. This is how you have to put the plug point. This is where the power supply is. Then this is where you can see your calories burnt. Like that, different things are there. And coach is also wonderful. If coach is there, like coach will also look at the manual and he'll explain. He would have read the manual already and perfected himself, right? That's how it is. So if you see, there is anything in this world, right? Now, be it some appliance that comes, there is a manual that comes along with it. How to use that, right? And there are various books also on any skill you want to learn, or anything you have to do in this world. You can always see there is a book to it. There'll be many books, but there will be few selected books which are like used by everyone, which are very popular. So always there, we have this this is very common, where we see that, like, the know-how to do the things are always documented, right, properly. So with keeping this in mind, we'll just read to this purport. So basically, what I'm trying to gather is, now if these aspects of the world, if these equipments and all have a manual, now such a beautiful creation, this earth, right? Now if we, and various complex things, right? Now all food gets produced, and different living beings, they ingest it, and they go live and they procreate, they pass away, that again gets absorbed. There is a ecosystem, there is climate, rivers, mountains. So all this, such a complex system this is. So don't you think this will have a manual, right? So we should uh, uh, we should go by this manual, right? Like, all of you are already attending this Bhagavad Gita course, and this one, from Bhagavad Gita you can learn a lot. Of course, the best thing would be, like, it teaches about how to love and serve God, and how that is the best thing, that is what people are meant to do in this human form of life. And it also teaches various things, like how to live in this world, different qualities of people, modes of nature. So like that, various concepts and all are covered in Bhagavad Gita, using which we can live in this world. It talks about kama, krodha, lobha, and all those aspects, right? Various things you would have learned. Now you all learned selected verses only. Now full Bhagavad Gita, much more things it covers. There is scope to cover many more concepts, right? Now, yeah, now let's just read through the purport. As described before, the Shastra Vidhi, or direction of Shastra, is given to the different castes and orders of human society. Everyone is expected to follow these rules and regulations. If one does not follow them and acts whimsically according to his lust, greed, and desire, then he never will be perfect in his life. In other words, a man may theoretically know all these things, but if he does not apply them in his own life, then he is known as the lowest of mankind. In the human form of life, a living entity is expected to be sane and to follow the regulations given for elevating his life to the highest platform. But if he does not follow them, then he degrades himself. But even if he follows the rules and regulations and moral principles, and ultimately does not come to the stage of understanding the Supreme Lord, then all his knowledge becomes spoiled. Okay, so here we'll just go through this line first. If one does not follow them and acts whimsically according to his lust, greed, and desire, then he will never be perfect in this life. Now, many people they say that, like, now we have these scriptures and all, but like, why read these things? You can just go about your life. You can do uh, you can do whatever is needed. Like, as a student, you just study, you you get good marks, and then you go on. Then you enter college. There also you ensure you study, you network and all that, and then you come out, pass out, you get a job. So like, and you just go on with life. Why bother about these things? So if you see, like, this looks very nice to say like this, but if you actually see in practical, right, like, you would have, you all also are and are from different different places. Like, I mean, some are students, some might be grown up, some are married and all. Now, whatever you do, there is there are many challenges, right? There are many challenges, and you cannot say that you'll be completely happy. So you always look for something, look for fulfillment. And uh, and some people, if they are acting on these three principles, right, lust, greed, desire, like, if there is nothing to follow, then you see that automatically they succumb to this. Now, for a student, what will happen? He will say that, let me just get good marks. He's always fed, let me get good marks, let me get good marks and stuff. So he will not worry about how I can serve others, or if I- how what is the proper way to get that. Should I just like uh, go over others? Should I just put others down and then excel? Will that be fine? He's not taught about that, and they're just pampered with a lot of luxury and all that, if they just are able to secure marks. Now, this student, as he grows up, the actual world might not be like that. It might be harsh to him. So he will wonder, Array, but I studied very nicely, and I was just pampered and all. So that is only is there in his mind. So he just did that and he was rewarded. But the world doesn't function that way. Now, perhaps if his parents and all, they read scripture, and they would have explained him about how the world is actually dual. There's a dual nature to it. And they would have explained him about service attitude. They would explain him about principles of God and all. Then he can be a good student, at the same time also understand all these aspects. So after he grows up also, he'll be like this. Now, similarly, like, you can take a person who is working and all that also. He might just get frustrated with work. He might just get into so much competition, and then maybe engage in lustful activities also, like intoxication, like illicit affairs and all that. But if he knows that, okay, you work hard, you do all these things, but it should be within the bound of dharma, all that if he knows, then probably he will not um he can be successful, and at the same time ensure that he's within the bounds of dharma, and make progress with respect to his uh, spiritual aspect, not just what is there in this world. He will be happy in this world also, but at the same time he's also working on how to serve others, help others, and at the same time make progress towards what would happen after his death, right? So that's what this is telling. Like, if one does not follow them and act whimsically, then he will never be perfect. He will suffer in this life. He will not be perfect, nor he's making any progress towards supreme destination. In fact, they are making a way towards a lower destination, actually. Okay, now another aspect is there. In other words, a man may theoretically know all these things, but if he does not apply them in his whole life, then he's known to be lowest of the mankind. Yes. Now, one thing is, like, some persons may just theoretically know, but they may not just apply. So like I know certain people, like they have, I've read about them. So they have done PhDs and all in Bhagavad Gita, PhD, and they can literally like they can do like a surgery, like I mean, oh, this tells this tells that, this chapter leads to this chapter, and these are the concepts and all that. But they might just be uh, leading a life of ignorance. They may just like be boozing and drinking, partying. They might engage in illicit affairs also. um, so like they might not know about the principle of service. So basically they might know all this, but they're here in this example they are just doing it from academic perspective. So then there is no point, right? They are still engaging in the life that anyone would be if he's not following scripture. So that way, knowing this is not helping them much. They are just looking at it from an academic angle. The same thing applies for some people who just worship these scriptures. They just worship it, they respect it, but they have nothing to do with it. They have their own philosophy. Array, my grandmother said so, my mom said so. No, I am telling you, follow this, right? Uh, like they are not led by, you would have learned in previous sessions also that scripture reveals guru and guru teaches scripture. So and guru, they have a disciplic section which comes from god. So that is something from there we should learn things, right? So like this, there are many examples where they theoretically know but they don't apply in their own life. So that Prabhupada is telling that there is no use to it, right? In the human form of life, a living being is entity is expected to be sane and to follow the regulations given for elevating his life to the highest platform. But if he does not follow them, then he just degrades himself. So, like, now many, I'll just give another example to this. Now, there were this 1960s, 1970s scene. So, there were many rock stars actually. Rock stars, literally, right? They were like kings of this world. I mean, they could like just by doing a small performance, a 2 minute 3 minute like riff, it would be called, like in a performance there are different aspects to it, right? Riff is a guitar thing, so they will do it, and people will just go mad. They will worship them literally. They had all the money, they had all the beauty, then they had they could, I mean, they could literally they could just have anyone as their companion, any boy, girl, anything they could have as their companion. But still, there is something called a 26 club, 26 or 28 club, it is called. It is a list of those rock stars who passed away, and at such a young age, like 28 years, they just passed away, those rock stars. So they literally had everything, right? What generally people preach around here outside. They say money and they say looks and you should be presentable, this, that, and all. And um, uh, that's all. Like you should do good to others. You should do good, be good, and that's all. And just build your wealth, and that's what there is to this life. And these rock stars, many were charitable also. All these things were also there. No, but what was missing in their life then, right? So uh, now, uh, lit- if you look at other people also, like they just keep amassing more and more wealth, money, businessmen and all till 50 years, 60 years. But then suddenly they get a realization, Array, okay, I'm doing all this, but what is the purpose of this? Why did I do all this? If you look at Alexander the Great, also now he had very profound realizations. When you're entering the world, you're coming empty. When you're going out of the world, also you're coming empty. So with all these things that you're required, will you take it into, I mean, to the next world or not? will you be able to take it? That's not how the way it is, right? So there is a purpose, and uh, that what you should do in this human form of life, that is elucidated in the scriptures. But important thing is you have to follow it also, right? And how to follow it? You get association of people who are connected to a parampara which properly delineates the scripture, and it teaches you, right? uh, and and that way you can make progress while doing duties of this world. Yes. Okay, so next point, what does it says? But even if he follows the rules and regulations and moral principles and ultimately does not come to the stage of understanding the Supreme Lord, then all his knowledge becomes spoiled. So uh, now some people are there, right? Now they take Bhagavad Gita and they're able to derive many lessons out of it. Like one person was there, he wrote a book on how to play best cricket with Bhagavad Gita, like based on Bhagavad Gita, how to play cricket the best. So like that, taking the message of God, like they have got a very different lesson from from the pages of it, right? Now, no, this also doesn't help. So, uh, like this is something which you can apply these principles in your daily life. But the main teaching of Bhagavad Gita, like I said before, is to love and serve God, to utilize this human form of life, and to practice bhakti. So that is the main goal. And there are many other higher dharmas also given in Bhagavad Gita. Now this one, how to play cricket, or how to make money, or how to do well in stock market, or just if you reduce Bhagavad Gita to a set of poses, yogic poses like that. So or if you only take how to eat, have a good diet from Bhagavad Gita, now then also the knowledge is incomplete, or you're making less use of what is possible in this world. Now that panda, if we go to that example again, now sometimes maybe while pressing all these buttons here and there, sometimes maybe it was exercising also properly in the belt. Sometimes it got all hits. Sometimes accidentally, or by some mistakes, by its own endeavor, something it would have done which actually would have caused it some benefit. But is that enough? I mean, the full benefit of the machine, it's not able to derive, right? So similarly, these people, these set of people, they are not able to derive the full benefit of this human form of life, and this opportunity of this human life. So they are able to derive the full benefit only if they come to understanding of who is the Supreme Lord. Okay, now Prabhupada goes further. And even if he accepts the existence of God, if he does not engage himself in the service of the Lord, his attempts are spoiled. So, in this respect, I would like to just explain one small pastime. So, there were Gopas and Krishna, and after a whole day of play and grazing the cows and all that, they were very, very hungry. Now, Krishna said to the Gopas, "Hey, you're hungry. See, this here, some villages are there. So why you just go and beg food? No problem. You just go and ask around households, get food." Then Gopas, they were surrendered to Krishna. Whatever he would say, they only acted for his pleasure. So the Gopas, they went one house by one house, and they saw that they approached houses of some Brahmanas. Those Brahmanas were like having tuft of hair behind, wearing different kinds of malas, having all auspicious markings, and they were readying themselves for a big sacrifice. Some were actually pouring out ghee and doing sacrifices. And these boys, young boys, very simple boys, all dust in their face, and that all that sweat due to their play. all tired and all very playful, uh, very innocent. They were asking them, "Hey, please give me some food. Like we are hungry." Now these brahmanas, they said, "Hey," like they didn't even look at them. They didn't even. They were like, "Hey, who are these people?" Just ignore them like that. Now here, uh, you have to notice one thing. Now they are pouring that ghee and all in that sacrifice. Whom are they trying to satisfy? They are trying to satisfy Vishnu. They're trying to satisfy Vishnu. That ahuti and all that they put, they're trying to satisfy Vishnu and please him. That is the Lord of their life. They have read all the scriptures. They have come to the understanding of Lord. And actually they're trying to satisfy Vishnu. But here, like Krishna and their cowherd boys, they themselves are coming and they're just these brahmanas are just disregarding them. Now the same cohort boys then they went a bit inside and there were Brahman patnis, the wives of the Brahmanas. They asked them, "Hey, hey, mother, I'm really hungry. Like, why don't you give me some food?" Then, like spontaneously, like they didn't think like who are these people, should I give them or not, out of spontaneous affection for these cowherd boys, for this Krishna. They also would have been observing na? These boys and all, they'll come, they'll do their pastimes out of spontaneous love and affection for them. These Brahman patnis, they started just hey, left and right, what is sabji is there, what rice is there, hey, let's make it. They immediately, like they went out of their way to start cooking different sabjis, different puris, rice, dal, boga, sweet, everything. They started preparing one by one, and they were feeding them sumptuously. Now here there is aspect of service. Now, now probably if you ask them to quote this verse, that verse, and the rigor of scripture and all, if you test them, they might they might they might probably have not answered. But on the plane of spiritual advancement, they are literally on, like on the topmost level, right? Like they are involved in the active principle of loving and serving Lord. So from this story we understand how like knowing about the Lord is one thing, philosophically knowing about the Lord and all, but after that what do we do? uh, are we engaging in service? Are we trying to build a relationship with him? Are we chanting japa? Are we taking steps in that? That matters. It matters a lot. So Prabhupada says, therefore, one should gradually raise himself to the platform of Krishna consciousness and devotional service. It is then and there that he can attain the highest perfectional stage, not otherwise. Thank you so much for attending today's session. With this, I'll stop. If anyone has any questions, they can share. They can let me know. Sorry, I couldn't turn my video on because for some reason, if I turn the video on, it was just the Zoom was disconnecting from the mic and the video, so that's why it was like that. Thank you, Leela Prabhu. Okay, so then I take it that uh, like you don't have any questions. Thank you so much for patiently attending. Thank you so much. Grateful to you all for listening and being with us this evening. In the WhatsApp group, please share any learnings, questions like that. We'll try to take the discussion there. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.